the side of DAMWON, so putting their eggs in that basket. We'll see if GRIFFIN, though, can speed it up as we jump into game 2. (2019) LCK Summer. It's heating up here, guys. It is getting pretty hot, though.
It is.
In Seoul.
It's not quite at the point where you go outside and you walk 10 feet and you're drenched in sweat. It's not quite there yet. Not yet. It's coming.
I feel like it's not super humid.
Oh, and then there's monsoon season next month.
Oh. I almost forgot about that.
Now I'm getting excited.
Thanks, LS.
Yep. I know that you're looking forward to it.
Monsoon season's fun, where it rains basically every day, and you can bring an umbrella, but the winds are really strong, so you end up breaking probably 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Not out of anger, but the wind actually just takes it out of your hand or blows it upside down, which can actually happen.
You know, the interesting thing about the monsoon season is just you really never quite know what you're going to get in terms of rainfall, and then some days it's really scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary. And if you live in an apartment here, the windows are always shaking and making noise. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, I know you have to deal with that.
Can't even turn on the AC. Gets bad.
Why can't you turn on the AC?
And well, it depends. If you have the Korean in-house units that they have, you know which ones I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They don't have them in America like that.
You mean the standing units?
Yeah, the standing units.
Yeah.
If you have those, it's fine.
Okay.
But if you have the pre-built-in air conditioner units that they have in the walls and in the ceiling, sometimes they just start flowing water. Everything just starts getting wet. It's really bad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, it's scary. It's awful. It's an absolutely dreadful feeling. Sort of like playing Aatrox against Fiora. It's an absolutely dreadful feeling.
It is. It's a bad one.
Taking a look at all the runes here across the board. Nothing too unorthodox or out of the norm present on either side.
And you get the Klepto for the Fiora to just dunk on your lane even harder. You're not feeling any pressure up against the Aatrox, so you're just kind of chilling. Build up that gold as much as possible, and you end up getting a pretty massive lead.
Kleptomancy on the Fiora. A little bit surprised. You can't actually change, well, obviously you can't change champions, nor can you know the runes of the opponent, but when they went into the game, I'm surprised that Chovy didn't say, okay, I'll go top lane, and make it so that Fiora doesn't have a rune. That would probably have been the best choice, to be honest. As long as Sword would be comfortable going up against ShowMaker in mid.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And there have been times like this before where
teams have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freaka.
We've seen it many times. I mean, even at Summit, Sandbox went mid a couple times. We saw a couple of random stuff like Darius mid. We saw, I think it was Taller or someone brought a Darius mid. We had a Gangplank mid.
Gangplank mid is really good against teams that want to try to mix up the draft, and they end up with a Kali in mid. He's really good against the Kali. He's also able to do okay against Aurelia in mid lane. So, definitely some versatility is possible. Doesn't look like GRIFFIN wanted to try to go that route this game, and already at the bottom lane for GRIFFIN doing a fantastic job. Dishing out a lot of poke to Salt. Nuclear does have the teleport available. BeryL not quite as fortunate.
See that Canyon trying to help out their bottom lane. Puts that down, and it was an unfortunate timing because the lane was pushed. So Lehends and Viper just walk over. They're like, okay, thank you for the extra gold. We'll take this out. Our ward was about to die anyway. And the lane dominance, again, is prevalent here in this game, at least so far in the bottom lane. Oh, Nuguri, but no, it's fine.
that we're posting right at the very end there. We're having a pretty standard game here so far. Not too much chaos and starting to look very similar to game number 1. Not a lot of chaos unfolding. Both junglers just sort of farming it out, but you can see that Tarzan's route is a little bit off kilter. He has the 7-10 split going on when you have the golems and the Gromp up, but nothing in between.
Yeah.
Feels quite bad.
7-10. Still ahead on CS over Canyon. Canyon took a little vacation in this game. And now Tarzan's waiting for him here.
Man.
And Canyon just going to face check it. See if he can get away from this one. Looks like another undertow comes in.
Really good amount of damage, though.
Yeah.
Even though Nuguri is coming, it shouldn't matter all that much. Oh, man.
Ult is coming through here as Sword is really trying to show his dominance up here on the top side.
This is definitely not a favorable position right now for DAMWON. And you can see that Chovy, he's completely content here in the mid lane, and also ShowMaker really going to be gimping his build for early into mid transitions. He rushed Mercury Tread on Camille. He's not going to do any damage.
Yeah, he's basically just going to survive and farm, but you're still going to get behind onto that Lissandra. Take a look at the bottom lane. You can tell that, of course, Sivir just trying to scale, but Viper and Lehends are like, no, we want to get in there and do the damage. Obviously, the shield max here on Lehends is being highlighted. Did go Guardian here for the Lux, which we have seen before.
Clear and BeryL just trying their best to hang on. There is down teleport right now. We'll have to sustain inside of the lane, and now Canyon is in close proximity to bottom. But everything's just sort of, it's going back and forth. We're playing ping pong.
Yeah.
Ping pong's actually really popular in Korea
Lately.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of ads.
Oh, really?
For it, yeah. I don't know why. It's gaining a lot of popularity.
Turning there. As level 6 is hit here for Canyon, but
oh wow, that clipped him.
Stop Tarzan as he's still going. And now the ultimate comes out of Ezreal. Canyon nearly gets hit by another axe. As even up a level, he's not able to get enough help from his teammates and can't do much but run away.
He's being forced out of the jungle, but as you said, he is already up a level, so now Tarzan's going to return to jungling. But I like what he's doing. He's recognizing that his laners are all winning at this point, and so all that he's trying to do is latch on to the opponent. Chovy just missed out on the demolish proc, yeah.
He got the plate.
Yeah, he did get the plate. I believe he missed out on the demolish. But nonetheless, Tarzan recognizes that his lanes are all winning, finds the opposing jungler, latches onto him, and basically says, you're not going to help anyone this game. He just has to sit back and watch.
And that has been a thing that we've seen from Tarzan before in the past, where we always remarked, especially when he was first showing up after coming into the LCK, we always remarked on his just sense in the jungle, the ability to find the other jungler, and his pathing was always score-esque. We always talked about him as a very intelligent jungler. He was being called the teacher by Punch, who came out here in game 1 and then got benched. Yeah, he's just a very smart jungler. And it's definitely something good he can do on the Olaf versus Sejuani matchup.
So far up in the top lane, Nuguri, ever since that level 6 fiasco that forced him out of lane and made him recall, he hasn't been able to accrue a sizable advantage, but that's alright. Fiora does come online later against the Aatrox and does start taking over. So at this point, though, Chovy now even getting in on the action.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, ShowMaker is going to pick up his teammate now, but it was all just about the never-ending Lissandra push that is so annoying to deal with. ShowMaker never had an an idea in his mind that he was going to be fighting with Lissandra or anything like that. So he kind of just had to get pushed in over and over. Speaking of which, Lehends taking a bit of damage down here on the bottom side. It's not looking all that bad for the side of Nuclear and BeryL now.
Canyon gonna try to make this work, potentially. Require Nuguri to take a fork.
Hey, here we go. It is going to land. And do they have the CC flashing forward? But it's not going to go down. A sword is going to stay alive. And there it is. First blood will go to Tarzan. Make that a double kill, the 2-for-1, as they win the big fight in the top lane.
And that's a massive swing up there in top that they couldn't really afford to have happen right now. Nuguri still doesn't have his teleport available, which means he will lose out on quite a bit of CS, as we can see that Aatrox is going to crash that next wave. He won't be able to get a plate, I don't believe. But meanwhile, in mid lane, Chovy.
Yeah.
He's got 2. Might even actually be able to get 3 within a couple of minutes.
You'd have to imagine. I mean, it's just a non-stop push. And the Lissandra pick seemed to work out, as now Lehends in a little bit of trouble here. Does have his flash, but oh! Thomas Kench!
That's really surprising, but it comes at a really important time for DAMWON. They needed a break, and they finally got it somewhere. Lehends, too slow to react on the flash.
Didn't expect that amount of tongue power from the man himself, but
I think he maybe even imagined that Viper would cover a little bit more area for him.
yeah.
We'll take a look at this as well, so watch this. They end up going, but they just weren't quite able to do it at the same time, and Nuguri a little bit slow right there, and it was just what they needed for GRIFFIN to turn this around. No flash, no flash.
잡고 빼. 잡고 빼. 카밀 가서 잡고 빼. 카밀 가서.
I'm gonna push top, I'm gonna push top.
And another replay on this.
Oh, let's take another look at this. And right here, watch Viper. He can easily, instead of issuing the auto attack, keep moving south and have blocked the tongue lash, but didn't want to do it.
Seems like even he wasn't expecting that amount of damage to come out, but Lux is, especially without Aftershock, she is very squishy. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but you gotta be careful. You gotta recognize that is the case.
Now we're back to the middle lane, where Lissandra will keep shoving endlessly.
Sally-Ann.
What?
That's her nickname.
Alright.
Yeah. Okay, here we go again. Tarzan.
They know about him, though.
Yeah. Nice. Every time Canyon tries to go somewhere, Tarzan's just like, nope. And now it's going to force the TP coming out here from Camille. Sword, I'm not sure about that one, but he is just going to hop over the wall. And he's totally fine.
Couldn't quite locate the R key to lock up the Aatrox. And Chovy, he's already at 3 plates. There's only 13 seconds remaining, though. No minion wave in close proximity, so he'll have to settle for 3 this game.
Yeah, you know, that's okay. That's all right.
Already has the Ludens completed. And look at Chovy. He's about 11.5 or 11 and a half. ShowMaker still level 10. So not quite sure how far behind he is in the middle lane. Meanwhile, up in top lane, same story again. Fiora, level 10. Sword is into 11. So the experience gap is very, very big, and I feel like it's a stat that a lot of people really underestimate. You're getting all the base scaling components, the extra skill points and whatnot, amplifying damage, and sometimes levels alone can even be more valuable than certain recipe items.
That's absolutely a big deal. We did talk about this before, how DAMWON, they're kind of playing for the long game. Obviously, these lanes are not going very well, especially that top lane where they thought they would have a bit more fun with the Fiora versus the Aatrox, but that has not been the case. But let's see if they can hold on for another 15, 20 minutes, maybe then we can slowly see this game turn around, but I'm not sure that Griffin is going to let them get there.
DAMWON, I mean, they're only down 2,000 gold right now. We can maybe assume that it's about 2.5 after the Rift Herald's going to be used. So it's not catastrophic yet, especially when you consider their scaling. Griffin's really looking to be about 5,000 ahead at 20 for you to consider them truly ahead, ignoring player skill and whatnot. I'm just talking comp to comp, and a lot of that just has to do, again, with the base scaling of the champions, but also how well do they effectively scale into future item buys. So now Ravenous Hydra completed for both top and mid laner, as both teams are just going to continue to posture. No one really cares about the Cloud Drake.
Yeah.
As yet again, they want to make something happen up here against Sword.
Sword doesn't seem too bothered so far. Like the way that he's staking trades, never committing to much, just looking for the sweet spots on his Q. Shelly doing a little dance, but gonna have to do some work here and knock down the turret. There it is, first blood turret going the way of Griffin. And as you mentioned, just about 2.5 thousand gold ahead now is the side of Griffin.
Finally, Tarzan gonna be pathing towards the Clown Drake. Gonna pick that up for his team.
Yeah. I feel like it's not that bad. It's pretty good on Aatrox and Olaf at least. Get them in range for them to do their stuff as okay. Trying to lock down Sword again.
You can see he's not buying it. And so when you're wondering if you're watching this, how do pro players know that something is amiss? Well, yeah. Olaf's on the right side of the map. There's no sign of Sejuani. You have the wards on the right-hand side jungle. She hasn't been spotted in a while. Suddenly, a Fiora is getting really frisky in front of your turret, playing a little bit reckless. And you have to wonder, okay, well, this isn't natural. This hasn't been how she's been playing out the laning phase thus far. And so because the behavior is abnormal, you can put two and two together and probably deduce that the jungler's there. But at the pro level, you can also sometimes do this to feign your jungler.
Yeah.
To make the opponent think that your jungler is top lane, suddenly they show up bot. And these are little maneuvers that can definitely come into play at the pro level.
You see it occasionally every now and then, but most of the time it's just a good read, as the jungler's most of the time there.
And sometimes it can lead to you getting the better end of certain trades because people play them out differently, thinking that maybe your jungler's nearby. Maybe they won't use an ability that is designed for their escape in the event that your jungler suddenly appeared and they weren't actually there, so you went out on the trade. Nonetheless, Infernal Drake will come up next. That's a high priority dragon for both of these teams. So if game number one was an indication of anything, you could maybe expect to see some sparks fly at that Drake and perhaps even the game end.
Yeah. Except this time it's actually the Infernal Drake and not the Ocean Drake for DAMWON. So maybe they're not going to like this one as much. Maybe they'll just say, you know, we like Ocean Drakes, not so much Infernals. But let us wait and see, as we still got about 2.5 minutes until that does get going. And Griffin, they don't seem in a rush at all. They're playing this very methodically, not really trying to force anything or going for any big ganks or anything like that. They're just farming up, you know, keeping with the lead that they've already built themselves in the early game. And they'll be looking to make their move before things get too late. As you did mention before, you know, you don't want it to go to 35 minutes plus, because then you got Fiora, Sivir, Camille, and a bunch of ways to get them around the map, and some CC in your jungler. So, no doubt Griffin will be making their move eventually, but that time is not yet in this game.
And 2,500 gold is all that separates the two teams right now, and so in theory, you would say to yourself, well, Griffin didn't accrue the type of sizable advantage that one would maybe hope, knowing that you're going up against a scaling team composition. But we mentioned that they do have the mid-game spike. They have the mid-game power, and fortunately for them, the Dragon's actually spawning at a point where the second items haven't quite come in just yet. And because of the way that some of the champions have itemized right now on the side of DAMWON, it can actually be a little bit problematic for this impending team fight. And if the Infernal goes over on the way of GRIFFIN, it really helps them go toe-to-toe against the scaling components on DAMWON.
Yeah. So that extra bit of scaling through the Drake is going to help them do a little bit of that, as well as Canyon just can't get enough of this top lane. It's not really going to help out there as ShowMaker takes a big chunk.
It's really surprising. Because top lane influence right now, we've even heard some top laners talk about how...
He's back again.
They really want...
All right, well, we'll give it another shot here as the stopwatch will come in, and Sword doesn't really care about that. He's already level 14 here as well, up against level 11 Canyon, so nothing hitting, and he just easily gets away.
You ever get the really toxic player in your solo queue game who keeps spam pinging you and demanding that you gank their lane?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it feels like right now. Canyon's being held hostage.
But then it's not in a good spot, but you're like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And then when the game goes wrong, they question mark me.
Or
those are the best.
Is it the jungler who keeps trying to force the agenda?
Those are more rare.
Those are pretty rare. They just never give up.
Yeah.
Like, no, we have to do this right now.
Yeah.
Now or never. Sort of like this. Now, see, this is the awkward moment. Oh, okay.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Oh, boy. Okay, get lasered in the back, too.
It actually tickled her.
Yeah.
That didn't really do too much.
Lux doesn't really do damage in the support role.
Let's take a look here. So, Ezreal, 211 AD, 40 AP right now. See the amplification. Okay.
32.
You got 4 AP. You got 21. What?
4 AP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 ability power.
That's nice.
Got 21 AD.
Yeah.
2 longswords.
And every lane is winning. Not every position. The support actually goes over to BeryL. He's winning with his 54 CS. Sharing a lot of that.
It's a very powerful Infernal Drake at this point in time. It really helps them at arguably their strongest point inside of the game is going to be the 2 and 3 items. So see what they can end up doing with it. Aatrox probably almost has his death dance completed. And they're even going to give the blue over to Viper. He has the Luden's Echo, he has the Iceborne Gauntlet.
Nuguri trying to get away from this one, will be ulted, but a nice riposte is going to shove it right back, and the TP is coming in. Really nice timing there on the Zhonya's, but Chovy is going to try to hop away, but he goes straight into the mouth of the Sivir. Will shut her down.
They committed a lot there to try to get Nuguri, but wasn't quite enough. I mean, he played it really well with the riposte. It did look like GRIFFIN was staggering a bit, trying to get him and eventually bring him down. And that's a nice little tempo swing that will go the way of DAMWON.
Really got to hand it to Nuguri. His mechanics on point. That's part of the reason why he was brought in to play that Fiora and make it happen. So we're going to get another look here at how this play happened.
The undertows are all hitting. Chovy comes over the wall, but he's really slow on the pull. And you can see there, right at the end, people might be wondering, well, why doesn't he press R right away? That's actually, what I'm thinking is a little bit of a mind game where he's anticipating that Nuguri will press the riposte sooner, doesn't see it, eventually goes for it at the point of no return. Nuguri ends up casting the riposte, and it was really well played by him. The leveling game, definitely successful for DAMWON. And that Fiora is getting massive. Having his Hydra and Trinity Force.
And you can see that Sword is absolutely respecting them right now. The gang's up in the top side under that turret, not so much, but second that, Fiora does well in a fight, gets a couple of items, Trinity Force now. He's He's like, okay, I'm ulting and flashing, pressing all my buttons to get away.
Camille, not quite as fortunate, doesn't have the Trinity Force completed yet. And so we'll see what ends up happening there. It's a very nice Aatrox skin. You ever realize that when he ults, he looks like a giant moth?
Kind of, yeah. I never really thought of it that way, but I think you're right.
Just watch him next time he ults.
Okay.
All right, he's been ulting a lot this game. They've been really trying to get, they've been trying to kill him.
It comes out of the cocoon and becomes a moth.
Yeah.
Do moths come out of cocoons?
When a caterpillar, I don't know the process, but you can either end up with a butterfly or a moth.
Are you sure about
And
that?
Pokemon taught me that. No, but it's not Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Sword and Shield before.
We did.
In our match points, but it's not out yet. LS, you'll have to wait.
Which one are you gonna buy?
Neither.
What?
Isn't it for like DS or something?
No, it's for Nintendo Switch.
Oh yeah, I don't have that yet.
Yet being the key word.
Yeah,
Plenty of time.
Maybe like 3 or 4 years from now.
What?
We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
All right, wait for it. He's gonna ult any day now. Just watch his wings.
I'm waiting for that one.
This is truly turning into a very Griffin-esque game where now they're gonna start losing slowly over the course of the next couple of minutes if a team fight doesn't end up unfolding. But they will Jedi mind trick the opposing team into taking a disadvantageous team fight, resulting in Griffin's inevitable win, the capture of the Baron buff, and then the fall of the opposing Nexus.
That sounds like Griffin to me.
That's the sequence of events that are... Just buckle up.
Okay.
Somehow...
You didn't have to spoil it before we got there, but...
After Tarzan consistently being behind in levels, he's now found
himself. All right, here we go, the moth. Okay.
See?
Nice hook shot. It's not going to matter as he finds 4 members, count them 4, from Griffin as BeryL as well. He's going to donate himself
the Jedi mind
to
trick.
science.
This is it. Now the Baron.
And it is actually going to start. That's why you're not supposed to read the script on cast, LS. You're supposed to keep it to yourself.
Alright.
Now, we got Fiora split pushing. That's just about all she can do at this point in time. But the Baron is absolutely going to go the way of Griffin here. DAMWON not even sending a jungler over. They'll just be happy with the Cloud Drake. And the next one will be a Ocean. Nobody really going to care about that one. The Baron from the Jedi Mind Trick outplay.
Let's take a look at this.
And we're going to take another look
Ask
here.
yourself why all of DAMWON was here doing what they were doing. And you can't come up with an answer. How did they convince BeryL to ult in like that?
I know. BeryL's the one where you're like actually thinking about it. You're like, I don't know. Maybe Ellis is onto something.
Qui-Gon Jinn waves his hand.
You will ult in the top push.
Oh, man. Alright, well, now with the Baron and the Ezreal and the Lux, that's quite a lot of poke and siege. The DAMWON team comp, it does have wave clear, but Sivir's not totally there yet. She will be able to hold on for quite a while. It is definitely one of the best ADCs that you could hope to have against the Baron siege.
Yeah.
Here comes the Moth. You didn't comment on his wings.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I said, here's the Moth.
No, you didn't. No, you said, here's the Moth, but you said something was really good. I thought you were talking about his wings.
Yeah. That is true.
Whoever designed this skin did an excellent job.
Give them a raise.
Yeah. It's very expensive, though. Just kidding.
That's true.
It's fine, though.
I mean, they made a lot of money, so they give the person a raise, right?
It's
the way
about
it works,
letting the opponents know. That's what it's all about.
Oh boy, Lehends in a lot of trouble, but he is going to survive somehow, some way. Viper 2 with a great stopwatch here, going to get over the wall. But maybe this is the fight, but Chovy trying to turn it around by himself, flashes in, and is nearly able to get a bunch of members, but now they're going to find ShowMaker here. The stopwatch at the last moment, but the good timing there to take him down. That will be just the 1 kill after a very tumultuous fight.
Yeah, it was a very close fight that could have gone either which way. if one Lissandra passive just went off inside of that fight, everything just gets really chaotic. But if they can lock up Viper, then things would have gone very, very poorly. Baron, only 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining. Let's take a look at how this all ends up transpiring. Lehends walks straight into a Sejuani ult, but Nuguri was tied up temporarily.
Yeah, the binding.
Flashes over onto Viper, but not able to execute him, and just barely Chovy misses lethal on one of the targets. ShowMaker barely able to get away at the very end, but ends up eventually being caught, forced to use his stopwatch.
Yeah. I was following Nuguri in that fight, actually. He got the second part of the binding, then flashes over, and then he does a little bit of damage, and then he kind of just walks away awkwardly. Yeah. So the Fiora in team fights at times can be overwhelming. Just a bit of an awkward fight there in the jungle. Not your straight-on 5v5.
Steric's now completed for Fiora. It looks like Guardian Angel will be the 4th item of choice. And Baron is about to dissipate, so they weren't able to end it with 1. They do have a 4,000 gold lead, but honestly, that's not super big, all things considered. Okay, well that poke is quite big.
And take a look over here, as that's a Fiora left out on an island. I'm not sure why he was so far up the lane that he was going to get caught out that way, as actually we have 2 split pushers in this game. One of them being ShowMaker, but the rest of his base is going down. I guess he decided that he's not able to do much to help, but that does mean that Griffin, without the Baron here, are just going to push on and probably take 2 inhibitors. Maybe even push for more here and force the Camille to come back, or otherwise go for the game as Chovy's diving in now. Big thick skin here as Sword not quite able to get that damage.
Oh, if they can hold on.
They can stop the backs here. This could get interesting as the inhibitor does go down.
Nuguri has teleport, so does Nuclear.
Oh, this is going to get interesting, actually. Here we go, TP out of the Ezreal. Not quite able to stop that one, and Desperation 1 from Sword as well. That was getting a little bit scary there towards the end.
Yeah, if any of the members on Griffin died, things really could have turned around almost entirely. That's kind of the worst way to lose. Or they're trying to find Camille.
Yeah.
Not going to find her, though. And Ocean Drake is on the map now. And we can take a look. Yeah, everyone was on a little bit of a different page. As the inhibitor, you can see the bottom one, received quite a bit of damage, but didn't end up getting killed. So there's only super minions coming in from the middle lane, but now with the top inhibitor down, there is an open window for the 3 teleports on the side of DAMWON, if they even get the slightest of advantages, provided that these super minions are in close proximity to Griffin's base.
Just like that, we have a win condition here for DAMWON, especially as the game is getting later on. You have a couple of those big scaling champions all teleporting in at the same time. How are you going to handle that? I mean, Chovy at this point is the only one that has his TP available. Viper and Sword used it to get back in that last play.
And you can see right now Chovy is on Fiora duty, as he's the only one that can realistically sort of hold her off at the last turret. He has to cosplay as Gandalf right there in the bottom lane. And we're actually get to see one of the reasons that the top inhibitor is the weakest inhibitor, and it's due to the proximity towards Baron. It's so easy for teams to posture around it, always push back the minion waves there. And it's not really the most valuable. Obviously, bottom inhibitor is the best. Top inhibitor only becomes valuable post 40 minutes when Elder Dragon starts becoming entertained, as the map sort of flips on its head.
Yeah. And take a look at this. They actually spotted ShowMaker coming on in. There were pings from that control ward, so both Viper and Chovy are down here in the bottom lane, really taking the split push seriously. This game is about to get really interesting as we do come along here. 35-minute mark about to be overcome.
Her shot barrage, it's going. Left the map now. Like a start.
Yeah, see you later.
Chovy really trying to hold this. And now Tarzan and friends coming in. Lehends, everyone's collapsing.
And immediately things to go to the Baron are coming in as they got a Sivir inside that belly. We're just going to 3-man it here, and GRIFFIN were baited into it, but then DAMWON saying, looks like we can't do it fast enough.
Yeah, they can't do this fast enough. This would actually be a really interesting play if they had Mountain Drakes.
Oh, yeah.
This is definitely the type of fork that they could do to GRIFFIN. But right now, their team composition is diminished to smoke and mirrors. You don't want to kill the Ocean Drake. That'll cause the Elder Dragon to spawn.
Okay, the Moth is flying again as Nuguri here. Getting 2v1. Nice timing there on the ultimate. Down she goes. And no longer will the Fiora be living. But yeah, they're going to go for this Ocean Drake here.
Oh man, 50 seconds on Nuguri. This means that the Baron will go the way of GRIFFIN, and with the bottom wave having been shoved out as well, it's going to be really hard to try to do anything. DAMWON are going to have to really find the needle in the haystack here if they're going to want to stay alive inside of this game, and this is what ends up happening when smoke and mirror attempts end up falling apart. And for people that are wondering, well, why don't they just team fight yet? They're not at a point where they can, and the open inhibitors make it problematic.
Hold the phone. Canyon is going to be spotted here. They're not going to go for this one just yet until they push Canyon away. Speaking of which, they nearly kill him on the backside. So they get the Baron. The TP's coming in here. Camille desperately trying to kill that turret. It's actually closer than I thought it would be. Nearly goes down here at the last second, but Chovy is able to put on the defense.
And now what they'll end up doing is they'll escort the bottom wave, which is the turret that just got hurt the most, to ensure that that'll be where the next super minions spawn from, so that they can try to put an end to DAMWON Gaming's attempt at doing anything there. Aatrox holding down the fort up in top lane. Inhibitor has respawned now in top. You can see there's no more super minions coming, so that's a cannon that is up in top. Elder 3 minutes away, which means that this Baron will last into it. Almost, allowing them to control all of the vision around DAMWON Gaming's blue side jungle. Guardian Angel completed for ShowMaker. He has the Executioner's Calling as well as a Null Magic Mantle. I'll have to see what his last item of choice will actually end up being. Sword forced to flash away.
A bit in trouble, but maybe able to bait Nuguri in here. Does a nice amount of damage on the last side, but does end up having to blow his ult and his flash on that one. Viper trying to go 1v5 on the poking war, and GRIFFIN now finally going for this bottom inhibitor that they wish they had taken earlier on in the game, but instead will take it now. And with that gigantic wave in the bottom lane, they're looking to push on in here. Viper with the bait, with that stopwatch from Lehends, taking a huge amount of damage. ShowMaker trying to get into the back line. Is going to get exhausted, not quite able to take on Lehends, who's able to kill him in the end there. Chovy as well on the front line. Takes out the Sejuani, and that should do it as GRIFFIN here, 5v3 now with the Baron, are going to push to end.
And the Lissandra passive did quite a bit of work also, acting as the zoning tool, and you're right, Valdez, that's all that she wrote.
Yeah. Not much else they can do here, as once again the story will continue. GRIFFIN will be 13-0 up against DAMWON and 2-0 tonight.